Okay, guys, welcome back, Blessed Be. I had the weirdest experience the last couple days. You know how Loki has always appeared as different gods, and like sometimes I'll think like or I thought like the Greek pantheon or something was reaching out. Well, this is what I would call Loki's Lord of the Animals aspect. I know he's not like talked a lot about that, but I used to mistake it for Dionysus or something. And yesterday there was like a lot of bee stuff and a lot of crow stuff. And the other day I was like even in the woods sitting in the one pavilion and the crows were like all over talking to me. And then it's like butterflies, and then today there were like a couple little insects I missed, but I came home and I'm hearing this buzzing in my house. And I don't know if he hitched a ride from the woods or where the heck the little guy came from, but there was a dragonfly in my house. I'm like, okay, there's like a creek down at the bottom of the hill, but how did he get like from the creek all the way up through my yard into my house? I'm like, okay, so this means something. And of course, being a good little pagan, I look up a dragonfly and I look up the associations, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting like all these change symbolism because I've been going through stuff. Like I was watching some health stuff this morning, and this guy kind of, I'm not going to say the channel because you might love it, and I don't want to take anything you love away from you, but the guy can kind of come off as a scold, and he's kind of like built his channel on, I don't want to say telling people what they want to hear, but telling people what you want to hear. Coffee's good, milk is bad, drink all the artificial sweetener stuff you want, blah blah blah. But then he'll like kind of backtrack and say, well, I didn't mean drink all of it, I mean do it in moderation. I'm like, dude, make up your mind. So he's kind of like playing like all multiple things, like to have it all. And I kind of understand that, but it's like you have to give people guidelines. Da, da, da. And I'd watched it, and when I first initially watched some of his channel, I was like, I'm okay. But he had made a remark about how artificial sweetener is great for you because it'll affect your waistline. And everybody should be, like, consuming this stuff. I'm like, okay, maybe you have some scientific stuff to say it's safe, but, as he kind of lame duckly pointed out at the end of the video, just switching to artificial sweetener is not going to instantly change things for you, because most of us know that, like, if we go to artificial sweetener, we go to it for weight loss. We don't, or to maintain our current weight. We don't go to it because it tastes good. It tastes like death. And in the end, it ends up doing nothing because you get in your head, and I will agree with him on this point, you get in your head all the calories you're saving, and you end up going and spending those somewhere else. Which in a way, you know, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on like how the rest of your diet is. It's a complicated thing. You shouldn't just scold people and say, well, because you're drinking that diet soda, don't go have dessert. Well, if you're drinking a diet soda and you're like having a plain salad, you know, maybe the dessert is all the calories you're going to get that meal. But all that aside, I was like in a really bad mood because I'm like, why does it seem like the whole universe is like this big scold and telling people what to do? And in a lot of the videos, I'd watched other videos too, and at first I was okay with it, but then I'm like kind of irritated as I'm taking my walk, and then by the time I get to the park, I'm in a really bad mood. Because it seemed like everybody and their brother had to be there because, unbeknownst to me, a local radio station is there at the pool. And I'm like, you know, I go to the park to be left alone. I don't want to see you, don't talk to me, don't come near me. And I was just in a really bad mood because it was like, why does everybody have to be a scold? They act like, you know, if you're a bigger person, you chose to do this and you're fat and lazy and that's why you're bigger. And it's like, no, it's more complicated than that. And so there were like all these signs in the park. Like there were all these insects I didn't like quite get a lock on because I was just in such a bad mood. But like insects were like landing on me and then flying away. And then I come home and I find that dragonfly and I'm like, okay, I've had enough. What is the universe doing? Because if I see one more animal totem, I'm gonna get out my gun and shoot it. I'm like, this is like a little too much information overload. Because the thing is, when you show me something like a bee or an ant or something, I'm like, oh my god, I have to work 10 times harder. Even though all animals carry a dual message, it can also mean, hey, you're working way too hard. Back off a little. And like bee can mean enjoy the sweetness of life, and so can dragonfly. Dragonfly can mean like let more joy into your life, and crow can kind of mean that too. And I'm like, well, I have been in this really, really bad mood lately because it seems like you just go through periods of your life where kind of know what I'm talking about. It's like the whole universe is scolding you for something. It just feels like it. Like it could be your weight, your age, your gender, whatever. It just feels like the whole universe, wherever you turn, you're getting ba 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 ba, and you're just like, I'm going nuts. And I don't know about you, but when I get scolded for something, it makes me want to go do it 10 times more. Yeah, it's like, don't you scold me. I'll go do what I want. It's like, that's why it never works, by the way, if you know somebody and you're like scolding them about their weight or how they dress or something. That's why it never works. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody. I mean, unless they're a masochist or something and that's part of their masochism. Nobody likes to be yelled at. None of us like it. And I know I shout when I get excited, but I'm not like shouting to yell at you guys. I'm not like, so yeah, Loki has been having all these animals show up. At first, like for like a nanosecond, I'm like, oh my god, excuse me, the Greek gods are finally talking to me, and I'm gonna have all these Greek and Roman gods around, and it's gonna be, oh yeah, it's Loki using, okay. And I am excited in a way. It's like, that is cool if he has that amount of control and he has that connection to animals. Because he's always had this, like, woodland connection with me. And he's always had a connection to animals. Like, Lucenta's always had a connection to birds with me for some reason. I don't know why. But she has, like, all kinds of birds. It doesn't matter. And it seems like he has these same powers. I think, well, remember, like, many people say to our ancient ancestors, and we don't know, a god might have just been a god, and what they did or what they didn't do might have varied wildly from person to person. We just have these stories left. Worship didn't continue unbroken down to the present day, so we really don't know how they viewed them. We only have like little small tiny fragments left. We don't know, for example, like how they really saw Zeus or how they really saw whatever. We have our assumptions, and our assumptions are probably wrong. And I mean, like, I've seen plenty of people work with the Greek gods and they're just fine with them and they feel loved and everything. But like here in the West, we teach, well, they were terrible and blah blah blah. But yeah, it was strange. And this part that I keep confusing for Dionysus, I do it because he kind of has this, not like any of the things you would subscribe to Dionysus, and that's like, I can't figure out why I confused the two in my head, but he has this really strong connection to animals. It feels like hidden wisdom, maybe magic or something. I don't know. Sometimes it's really hard to read Loki. It's like Loki's being Loki now, and he's being Lord of the Animals, and he almost never talks when he's like this, and he's just sending these animals and doing like old school god stuff. You know what I mean? Like usually Loki's like pretty modern, up to date, and he does stuff in a vibe that, you know, we in the modern time can get. But every so often he goes like old school god. He does this mysterious stuff and just leaves you to figure it out. So yeah, and I know you guys are probably sick about hearing about artificial sweeteners and all the other fun going on in my life, but that tied into it too. I mean, like, if I was going around being like totally happy and in a good mood today, none of this would have probably happened. So I don't know. I mean, I'm getting like an abundance of signs, and usually like either I'm paying more attention to them and I'm noticing them more, and maybe we get an abundance of signs every day and we just don't notice them, or it's just a really huge change is coming and I'm like kind of like trying to put on the brakes. I'm like, I don't know if I want this change. You've been announcing it for a while now with the crows and the dragonfly and seeing bees and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. And I found like an ant the other day, and I always feel guilty. It's like, don't send me ants, because I'll be like, oh my god, I'm not working hard enough, and I'll like try to work 10 times harder. And it's like, no, please don't do that. So I don't know if I'm being told to slow down or speed up or what the change is gonna be. But, you know, you guys will hear about it first. I like can't make any sense out of it at this point. It's like, it's so much information all thrown into a heap. And I have no idea what it means. At all. I officially give up trying to figure it out. Because I was even looking up Dragonfly and trying to find out if, like, he was sacred to any god or goddess. Because I couldn't, like, recall off the top of my head. And I think there's an Ogu that they're sacred to, but it's like, this didn't feel like an Ogu thing. This didn't feel like Papa Ogu saying, hey, I'm still here or something. And it's a Wednesday, so vote in. I have no idea. I give up at this point. I give up. I'm sure it's a good sign, but I give up. All this makes me want to do is go take a break, go walk to the DQ and have something, which is a total opposite of all the scolding videos I watched this morning. But it's like, stop scolding me, it doesn't work. Okay, guys, I hope you liked that. I know it was kind of rambly. And I get a bee in my bonnet, so to speak. It takes me a while to get over it, and to purr under my saddle and every other euphemism. But yeah, I euphemism or metaphor, I don't know, I don't care. But I will be okay. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.